God bless you. For the dead. Flowers for the dead. At times I hear your voice still in my head. Loud and clear, wishing you were here instead. These precious memories I can't forget. Miss you, twin. Not floated by the wind. Flowers for the dead.
What's going on, YouTube? This is your man Azrael the One. It's been a hot minute. First off, I'd like to say happy Valentine's Day to all you lovebirds out there. Today's video is really going to cover something that I felt was on my mind. But first, before I do anything, I gotta say thank you guys for liking, subscribing, and commenting my videos. I know it's been a while since I actually did an upload, and you guys have continually watched, continually subscribed, and continually comment on these things. So I want to take a moment to acknowledge you guys and say that it means a lot. Next, I do want to send my shout outs. First off, shout out to my wife of 3 years. You have been a wonderful inspiration on how I should affect change in the world. Because when I look at you and I look at the children we're going to bring to the world, it makes me want to get out there and make it better for those kids. Second shout out will go to my man Reginald P. Jones. I really appreciate your upbeat attitude, sir. It gives everybody a way to really try to mold themselves, if you will, to a certain attitude, to, in spite of everything that's happened negatively, to try and make a positive out of it. So today's video is going to really address the not so publicly covered trial, the trial of Michael Dunn. Now, many of you weren't aware, may or may not be aware, this incident pretty much happened right on the heels of the George Zimmerman verdict, in which case a white male shoots into a car of black teenagers, and one of them ends up dead. Now, I'm not going to do this video to give my opinion in the court of public speculation. I think that everything that's going to happen has already happened. All I can do is watch what I have missed. I feel remiss in not having to have sat down and watch the trial. Unfortunately, because I am in school when the trial is taking place, I really can't keep up with it the way I did when the Trayvon Martin verdict in trial was going on. Instead, I want to point out some key things. Number one, there is a need now more than ever for the black consciousness to pull itself together. If you've noticed in the last 24 months, there have been at least 6 publicized black fatalities. Yeah, I believe the young man's name, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, in the comment box. Joshua Johnson, Trayvon Martin, another brother from Detroit, a black woman, a recent incident in Jasper, Texas. Black people, especially black men, this is a call for you to start pulling yourselves together. Start putting aside these stupid, insipid beefs and realize we need to put up a common defense. It is all too often when our Sean Bells, our Amadou Diallos, our Trayvons are being shot, brutalized in the streets by cops, by other black men, by white men. It is all too often that we are being brutalized and being reduced to being an endangered species simply because of pigmentation. It's far so easy for us to brush it off as another inconsequential matter, another black kid dead that we can't do anything about. Wrong. First and foremost, I want to point out 3 simple things for you. Number one, if you are able to legally do so, black men, I encourage you to look at this trial, like the Trayvon Martin trial, with interest. This verdict, while I have every reasonable belief that Michael Dunn will go to prison, It's going to raise again for you the issues of laissez-faire racism. It's going to raise the issues for you of gun rights and gun control. Let me remind you, black men, the simplest way to subdue a populace is to take away its weapons. And you, being the disadvantaged individual that you are in the society already, not having access to legally carry a gun already puts you further down the rabbit hole. So I encourage every black man who is able to legally own and carry a firearm to do so. Secondly, this is really a call to action in which you should challenge your political pundits. You know, Jesse Craxton and Al Sharpton. You need to get out there and challenge these pundits. You need to get out there and start marching instead of for Trayvon Martin. March on your legislatures. March on your politicians' offices. March on the Senate if you need to. And demand that the politicians you elected start representing you. Start pushing for better accountability and closing these loopholes in the law. Now, let's be honest. I am a proponent of guns rights. I believe as an American citizen, I have the legal right to carry a firearm. And I live here in New York City, where it is essentially a no-carry zone. There is a problem. I'm a believer that if my life is threatened, I have a right to put a bullet in you. I believe if the life of my wife and children are threatened, I have a right to put a bullet in you. I believe that if I'm in a place where I am accosted based on the color of my skin, I'd rather shoot first and ask questions later. Point being, because I am black and I am a man here in America, that automatically means I'm at a bad position. I'm in a very bad position in most places. And I think that if you are able, black men, to arm yourselves up, you will be able to deter other black men who would prey upon you. You'll be able to deter white men who prey upon you. You'll be able to adequately defend yourself. Thirdly, I want to raise the consciousness by showing you black Americans, you Negroes out here, that this society does not have your best interest at heart. And so it requires you now and more than ever to start banding yourselves together. Look at these cases. Every one of these deaths were senseless, needless. Every one. And it's a call to action within our own community for us to have a moratorium about the violence that we perpetuate among each other, the idiocy that flows from us like human fucking privies. I am calling for a moratorium where we can all sit down and talk about the issues. Notice, black people, here on YouTube, we have factions where there need not be one, when we can pull our efforts together and unite for a common purpose and defense against a society, against a land that is set up for us to fail in. And despite every turn, despite every misfortune, despite every setback, we have somehow managed to survive. But it is not enough just to survive anymore. We must flourish. But in order for us to do that, in order for us, excuse me, in order for us to do what needs to be done, we must put aside this trivial issues about how we phrase our ideas, and because we don't like how one thing is said, we have to act like little children. You don't see the 100,000 black men talking about this political case. You don't see these so-called progressive, Pan-African, pro-black motherfuckers out here talking about raising the consciousness of the people. Because when we have situations like this goes over their fucking heads. Because they are too busy focusing on one man's opinion. You don't see that. And it's frightening. No, it's not frightening. It's to be expected. Because they don't give a shit about you, black America. These fucking progressives are the fucking puppets of white liberals. They don't give a shit. They only care about being the white liberals' favorite little pet. Good job. You did exactly what I expected you to do. Black America, you need to wake up. See, we ignore these instances. We don't talk about them until it's too late. And then we want to cry boo-hoo. When it was an Amadou Diallo, we said nothing. When it was another African immigrant here in the city, we said nothing. When Trayvon went, we said nothing. When this young man went, we said nothing. When another black young man went, we said nothing. When a black woman went, we said nothing. And what I mean by say nothing, oh, we got out there, we made a public display. But we didn't go out and demand change from the politicians we elected. Now is the time. It is 2014. In 2 years, we will get a new president. Within a year or two, you will be electing new senators, new congressmen, new attorney generals, new district attorneys. You will elect them. And instead of buying these bullshit promises they hand you, how about for once, look at their political record. Look at what they've done for their community that they claimed that they would do. Look at all the promises they're going to offer you. And look at everything they quote unquote did for you. And then look at what your community needs and use that as a rubric to make the better choice for your community. That's what it's about. See, when you make those decisions and those choices, and you put somebody in power who's going to represent you, now your black children stop suffering. Now your black schools get funded. Now your black men are not being ostracized and hunted down like dogs in a fucking street. Because now you have someone who represents your interests. Somebody who will get up there and argue for you. Black men, I want you to understand that you not only need to carry a gun for your defense, but you need to push these pundits and these politicians to do their fucking job, or find somebody else who will. Here in black YouTube land, you have all these fucking YouTubers who get out here for fame and glory, saying they want to represent your community. They want to talk about your issues. But this issue went under the table. Even I, in that, am not exempt, because it flew over my head. Despite having such a busy life, I did not take time to investigate this issue and to talk about it day in and day out, to continue to try to raise the consciousness. But here I am now in deliberation while they're deciding this man's fate. I am talking about this with you. Because win or lose, this still does not fix the systemic problem that black men in America are seen as dangerous animals. I'm going to say it again. Here in America, black men, they see you as an animal. Something to be frightened of, to be put down, a trophy, a big black buck to mount on your fucking wall. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? See, I have children coming to the world, and many of you have sons and daughters. Aren't you tired? Make the changes, black people. Arm yourselves not only with guns and bullets, but knowledge. Don't let another black youth in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, decade, century, lose their life at the hands of someone else senselessly.